And welcome in, everybody. Thanks for tuning into today's podcast. Today is a very special episode because I'm joined by May from Behavior. I think that's your full name, right? May from Behavior.
Correct. Yeah, that's the official name.
That's right. May's pronouns are she, her. She's the influencer manager at Behavior for Dead by Daylight. May, welcome in. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a real honor because we actually met through the Four Directions stream team.
Yeah.
My friend Witchy Twitchy put together a Discord of like Native American and Native Canadian streamers, and we all said, "Hey, Twitch forgot about us during Native American Heritage Month. Let's put out a video of our own where they would on like the same style as like the way Twitch celebrates other groups." So we put out a video, and I think it's at like 110,000 views right now on Twitter. It's
It's a
really
lot.
cool.
It made
It's a
the
lot.
rounds.
It did. And you were actually one of the people who reached out and said, "Hey, I appreciate your video. Can we have a chat sometime?" So
Yeah.
um, we invited you over to our Discord. We had a nice conversation that was just really beautiful and empowering for those of us native content creators who create content for Dead by Daylight. So um, yeah, it was really meaningful, and I just want to thank you for myself and on behalf of the
Hmm.
team for reaching out. That was really meaningful.
You're gonna make me cry straight off the bat. Well, I mean, first of all, it was absolutely my honor and pleasure to reach out, and it's something that I've had my eye on for a while. I myself am of mixed descent,
Right.
Shumixi. I
Hmm.
have the French Canadian and a bit of Indigenous as well, and I've
Oh,
always
okay.
been, you know, supporting that community however I can.
Hmm.
And as soon as I saw Witchy Twitchy's post, I was like, oh my God. And then I was watching the video, and it was through watching the video that I saw there was so many DVD streamers. And I was like,
Hmm.
how do I not know this? And how can I support them? So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I left the message basically being like, please DM me.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see the original tweet. That was really cool.
Yeah, it's, one of the greatest things that I get to do as an influencer manager is find these voices,
Hmm.
and whatever I can do to help amplify and uplift. Like, honestly, my pleasure. And it's really great to be here as well.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, it's been incredibly beautiful, and through the stream team, I've been able to get to know a lot more Native American and Native Canadian content creators, and it's been a real joy and
Mhm.
a good feeling. So I'm curious, like in your role at Behavior, what's a day in the life of May like? What do you what's your let me put you on the spot.
Oh my
Pretend I'm your
God.
boss and performance review time.
I literally
So,
just had one.
oh, did you really? Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I
Yeah,
actually like them.
yeah,
So a day in the life of an influencer manager is really hard to define because it can be so radically different.
right.
So there are times where it's, checking out and vetting content creators to join the Fog Whisper program or to give the t-shirts to Shirt My Survivor people. A lot of the time it's content planning, it's live stream organizing. I've worked on Into the Fog and Into the Rainbow. Those are influencer
Right.
management's babies. And also my baby.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, so it can be live streams, it can be live events. We do go to TwitchCon and PAX and do some networking there. It can be hosting and throwing parties for our content creators. It can be just scrubbing social media to see what trends are, see how we can capitalize on it.
Hmm.
Going one-on-one with all my Fog Whispers to see what sort of hidden talents people have that we can use.
Oh, cool.
Because,
Okay.
you know, streamers are great and I love supporting streamers, but almost every streamer has like a secret hidden talent in there. And I like
Right.
figuring out what it is and then
Yeah.
finding a way to showcase that as well. So,
Oh, cool.
mhm.
Yeah, I think a big part of content creation is not even realizing the talents that you have. Like
Yeah.
so many people are sitting on like incredible talents, and um some people do capitalize on these things. Like I know one of the folks in our stream team, Marmar, he's very good like film editor, so he does like really cool edits for his content, but that's also like what he does in his 9 to 5, so he's able to apply that in all aspects of his life. So That's really amazing.
Yeah, it's
Now,
awesome. So much talent. Like I'm always completely bewildered by the amount of talent content creators have because a lot of you are, you're the talent, you're
hmm
the social media team,
oh yeah,
you are the graphic designer, you are
yeah.
the editor. So it's just, yeah, it's wild to see the sheer amount of talent, and I really like finding it so I can show it to other people.
Oh, that's awesome. So, when did you join Behavior?
Oh, it's been about 2 years now.
Okay,
The first chapter I worked on was all kill, so it has a
okay.
special place in my heart. But
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
I was February of, oh, I can't do math. I'm about to embarrass myself.
2020.
Yes,
Yeah,
2020.
yeah,
That would be right.
yeah. That's cool. So, and I just wanted to mention too. You mentioned like the Into the Fog and the
Mhm.
Pride events and such. Like, I think I think you mentioned in our conversation and just now that's like a couple of your baby projects, right?
Yeah. So Into the Fog predates me. It
hmm
was actually created by obviously a great team, but the only influence manager that was here before me was this. Well, she's still there. Why am I talking like past tense?
Yeah, yeah,
She's my boss and she's
right.
amazing. She's
Yeah.
Gabs. That was her baby. And then when I came in, I was like, I really want to do one for Pride. So Into the Rainbow
hmm
was actually my first big project
Okay.
on Dead by Daylight. I sort of came
hmm
in, I assisted with the All Kill chapter. I was doing some brainstorming and I was like, what do we do for Pride? And
hmm
the year before, we had supported Stream Queens, which is another amazing stream team that we love and we
Oh
love
yeah.
supporting.
hmm
And I was like, well, what if we do something like bigger?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was basically my nosedive into the deep end of influencer management. So I used like the framework that existed for Into the Fog, but I made it exclusively queer content creators.
That's amazing. That's really beautiful. And while we're on the topic, I wanted to tell you a quick story about
Yes.
like the Pride Charms and like the community that we have. Like, there's such a strong LGBTQIA2S plus community in Dead by Daylight, and through Dead by Daylight, I kind of realized that I'm bisexual and came out as a result of the Pride Charm. So, yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. That was, I think it was last year or the year before. And yeah, there was, I was taking a lot of flack on my TikTok for people that people were like, oh, the charm though, you're wearing the charm. Like, it's so cringe. And I'm like, and I was like really upset. Like, I was upset. Like, I was like in the
Mhm.
verge of tears. And I was like, why is this bothering me so much? And then I just
Yeah.
started reflecting, and like I was like, well, I I don't really hide the fact that I'm attracted to more than one gender,
Mhm.
and I've never really put a label on it. And it just it was just incredibly empowering to have the support system of the Dead by Daylight community and to be able to feel good while wearing the charm. So
Oh,
that was a really cool moment for me.
that brings such joy to my heart because like the team has always been extremely passionate about supporting our LGBTQIA2S plus creators, but it's like that was one way that we kind of like took them and put them in the forefront. And the charm was a beautiful collaboration of multiple teams to make it happen. And then we did the Progress Pride charm the year
Right.
after, along
Yeah.
with all of our LGBT emotes for Better Twitch TV.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I love those. I think it's incredible, and yeah, it's just I can tell that yeah, whenever I'm in other streamers' streams or in mine, like I think it's like we can just be ourselves and just
Mhm.
be happy and like express ourselves freely and without judgment, like not 100% without judgment, because there's like some cringe people out there,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's just a really nice feeling, and I just wanted to thank you and everybody at the team, like anybody who's worked on it, be sure to
Oh,
give
I
them
will
a pat
tell
on the
them.
back and say hey.
It's one of the best parts about my job is when I'm on social media or I'm in people's streams, like being able to clip those moments and give them
hmm
back to the team. Because for every me, there's like dozens, if not hundreds, of people behind me helping me with these initiatives. So when I say things are like mine, I actually mean like I
hmm
pushed the ball, but then we
yeah.
all kind of started rolling it up and down the hill
Oh yeah.
because you don't exist in a void in
Mhm.
game development, and that's one of the really beautiful things about it. But yeah, I'm absolutely going to tell them that as soon as I'm done. I'm going to be like,
Right on. That's cool. So you must have to have your ear close to the ground when it comes to the Dead by Daylight community. Like in terms of I want to talk about something that's a little sticky, like in terms
Okay.
of the let's say the negative energy people put out there.
Hmm.
Like how do you respond when you see people using terms they shouldn't be using when they're talking about either a content creator or a character in the game, and what can you do about that? Like, is there anything?
Well, I mean, safety and creating a safe space has always been a priority for us in the team. And every time that we have the opportunity to work with a new tool to make it safer, we do.
Mhm.
Like the way we implemented the chat filter, which is not
Right.
flawless, but we're
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah.
And like everyone's been working really, really hard, and there's a bunch of things on the back end, and it's you just do what you can. You mute terms, you hide things that are offensive. We've been also the community team has put an amazing amount of time and effort into moderation of a lot of our posts. Like for Pride,
Okay.
we have moderators that go through and will take away some of the more negative feedback,
Mhm.
because like people on the internet are going to internet,
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah.
we try to cultivate and cull as much of it as we can.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that from what I've witnessed, like y'all have done a terrific job with that. Like I've tuned into the events, and
Mhm.
yeah, there are some people who just say the worst things, and it's like, what do you hope to get out of this? Like by being weird, but at the same time, for every one message I see like that, I see 100 like beautiful, positive messages from people who are there to support the people in the community. And
Yeah, and honestly, our team of moderators are amazing. Like sometimes when I'm in there, because I'm helping direct the stream, I have my
mhm,
chat and I have all these other things, and like as soon as I see something come up,
yeah,
moderator nukes it. And I think it's really important to protect the chat and protect the streamers that are participating, as much as possible. Because, like I said, people can be jerks.
oh, totally, totally. Now, one thing I was curious about as well is something that I think myself and a lot of people in the gaming community are not aware of. Like, how did y'all manage through the pandemic? Like, still putting out DLC and updates. Like there's got to be a lot of moving parts in that kind of
Yeah.
operation.
Well, I mean, eh, I know that our president, like the CEO of Behavior, Remy Racine, he actually did a talk on work from home models, and we're so dedicated to it now that we're all hybrid. We can all
Okay.
work from home or the office or a combination of both. So they definitely found a way to make it work. For my team, like that I'm on, that I can speak to directly, we do things
Hmm.
like we have like drop-in hours where people can go and just hang out and play games,
Oh,
or
cool.
we have like scrums in the morning where we all kind of stand up and say what we're saying, what we're doing for the day, so we
Yeah.
can unblock each other, help each other out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of communication, and I think in some ways it helped our processes,
Hmm.
because you couldn't everyone had to have visibility on everything,
Right.
because we
Yeah.
couldn't just go over to someone else's desk and like tap them on the shoulders and be like, what's going on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know what that's like as an IT guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Hey, this.
miss the IT guys. I hope they got paid like hazard pay or something, because when we
Yeah.
were all setting up our VPNs and trying to get stuff
Oh,
figured out at home,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they gave us like a 26-page beautifully instructed PDF, and I still struggled.
Oh no, yeah, it's tough. Like, yeah, myself, I'm an IT guy, and sometimes I struggle with those things because there are
Mm,
like so many steps, and things can go wrong. You'll get an error message that's not listed on the document, and yeah, but yeah, I've definitely, I'm mostly work from home,
mhm.
but I as much as I love my coworkers, I don't really miss the drive-bys that we call them. Like, hey, I got this thing, this error message popping up when I do this. Can you help me? And I'm like, in the middle of something. I'm like, sure, I'll help you. And then like, I'm getting pulled in like 3 different directions. And
Yeah, I know that whenever I'm physically in the office and I go by our IT section, like it's always there's always a certain element of chaos in there, and I'm
mhm.
always like, "Am I bothering you? Is it
Oh,
okay?"
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Cause like, yeah, nobody goes to the IT person to say, hey, how's your day going? Like it's,
Yeah.
hey, I can't log into my system. I'm
Well, I
locked out
try and go
again.
by whenever I'm there just to say hi to everyone
Oh, that's
because, like,
cool.
well, IT, QA, a lot of these positions are really like the unsung heroes. They're like the spine
Hmm.
of game development, and
Hmm.
it's important to show appreciation. And it also means that when shit goes horribly wrong on my PC, someone's there to help me.
That's right. That's right. Now, I just wanted to rewind the clock a
Mhm.
little bit because I'm sorry, you worked at BioWare before you worked at Behavior,
Yes.
and you
Mhm.
worked on games like Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Yes.
How was that experience? And
Oh my god, that was amazing. So I am a through and through RPG nerd. Like I started
okay,
off with like a D&D tabletop and then I got
oh,
into
cool.
like role-playing games through that, like classic Diablo, Planescape Torment, Baldur's Gate, all of that stuff. So like
Okay,
they were basically like my first game company that I fell in love with, and they were
oh,
like
cool.
the pan ultimate. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Um, I actually met a lot of the developers through cosplay and conventions and things like that. And then when a position for community specialist opened up in Montreal, I was like,
Hmm.
I'll just try.
Yeah, yeah. Why not?
I'll just try and see.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I got the job and it was a really incredible learning experience.
Hmm.
I got to work on all of the titles except for the Old Republic that actually has a separate team.
Okay, I get you.
And yeah, it was pretty incredible. That was my first foray into game development.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw that and I got really excited because I did play a lot of those games, and
Yeah.
yeah, Mass Effect. I remember it had a really special place in my heart because me and my friends would play it and we'd all like kind of watch each other. Like this was like before there was Twitch. It was like
Yeah.
Twitch when Twitch was IRL. It was like, hey man, I'm gonna sit on the couch and watch you play Mass Effect. So that was
My my ex and I would have a similar thing where we'd have schedules of when I was playing and when
oh,
they
is
were
that right?
playing because I
Yeah.
would always want to creep. Like I'd be like, I need to know what decisions you made
Yeah.
so I can
Yeah.
judge you for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and the shock and terror as they choose a different path as
mhm.
you, and that's
I
so
have
much
a
fun.
really good friend that actually just played through the end of Mass Effect 2 for the first time.
Okay.
And he's a streamer. And I sat there, like, I was just like, screaming at him the entire time he was
No
doing the
way.
suicide run. I was like, dude, no. Like,
Oh, no.
it was so bad. Like, he turned around and he just reloaded it instantly. And I think he did two
Oh.
more times. But I'm like, it's okay. Everyone does that. Everyone does that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I'm the only person that did not rewind that because I was actually like, okay
Uh,
with my outcome. But yeah,
oh, yeah. Yeah, I
it's,
find that with games like that, I like to just accept my fate, no matter how much it hurts. Like, I
mhm.
remember Detroit Become Human was one of my favorite games I ever streamed because there was a point I don't want to spoil it. Have you played
No,
Detroit?
I've
Okay.
played. I've played, and I also watched my partner play through it on Twitch. It was actually one of my favorite games to watch on Twitch, just
Oh,
because
cool.
like I was absolutely mind boggled by the amount of choice and the amount
Yeah.
of different ways it could go. So do not
Mhm.
worry about spoiling it for me.
Okay, yeah, so you know how near the end there's like combat and fighting and like
Hmm.
all this stuff, mayhem going on. I lost like almost my entire team at that point. And like I was like, charge forward, kill them. And I lost everybody essentially. And my buddies were just watching in pure terror as all of their favorite characters are dying, and I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just I, it's just the way it played out. So
Yeah, I'm a bit of a diehard role player too, like because I came to video games from tabletop, and
right.
people will laugh at how seriously I'll take it, and I'll be like, "No,
Okay.
my character would do this," and then
Yeah.
I stick to it, um, to the point where it's absolutely a fault, but it
Oh,
gets
no
me
way.
some fun places.
Oh, that's cool. So you've mentioned like you're really into cosplay and tabletop. Like,
Mhm.
has that always been a part of your life?
Yeah, I'm what I used to call like a second generation nerd, where
Okay.
I grew up in a very very nerdy household, and it was just sort of like something that had always been a part of my life. So I never
Hmm.
thought it was like weird or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my dad started taking me to conventions when I was a little girl to meet my favorite Star Trek characters. Like one of my
Oh, cool.
earliest memories is meeting Michael Dorn and Marina Sirtis from TNG.
Okay.
I remember being at Toronto Trek when they like announced Deep Space Nine was a thing. Like
Whoa.
I,
That's cool.
yeah. So it's been something that's always been a part of me. It's how I connect with people. When I was in university, I was in like the sci-fi club,
Hmm.
things like that. So yeah, it's always been a huge part of my life.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, because I've noticed like I took a bit of a deep dive into like your content, like your Twitch streams and uh, everything I could find, and I could see you have a really deep background in cosplay and content creation. I see you're a very artistic person,
Yeah.
and I can always appreciate when somebody expresses themselves artistically, whether it's through cosplay. You do always like really cool makeup stuff. I've
Yeah,
noticed,
I
and
love makeup and prosthetics. It's one of my favorite things.
yeah. Yeah, so that's really cool. Yeah, I had a friend on here previously. Her name's Slushy,
Mhm.
and she actually started out as like a makeup content creator. She would do like tutorials and stuff, and now her focus is Dead by Daylight, but she still
Ooh.
incorporates that into her content. And I'm like, yeah, I love seeing that kind of thing because that's just a really cool creative aspect that I really like to see. Like I saw you also do some painting, right? And
Yeah, so the origin story of me is I actually went to school for illustration and design.
okay.
I did that in CEGEP, and then in university, I went on to do creative art education and art therapy, um, which I didn't actually finish because I got a tattoo apprenticeship, and then I worked as a tattoo artist for 10 years.
Oh, no way. Wow.
Yeah, so
Cool.
the illustration and the art and everything, that was like my day job for most of my life.
Hmm.
Um, and then cosplay became like the creative outlet to art, because art, I don't know if you ever had this, but like, I mean, you must have it with streaming. When you're
Hmm.
in a creative profession and it's something that you love, but what you love also becomes your job. Sometimes you
Right.
have these moments where you're like, well, I can't just play this for fun because I need to be streaming this.
Oh, yeah.
I had a lot of that when it came to my art, where I was like, well, I can't
Oh,
be
okay.
painting this for fun because I have
Yeah.
like this tattoo that I need to draw for tomorrow.
Hmm.
So cosplay became my creative outlet, where I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I'll just make things and then I'll take vacations and paint myself green and wander around.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I met all of my best friends that way, and it was
Oh,
actually
cool.
stunning to see how well all my illustration training served
Hmm.
me in cosplay.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I saw some really cool pictures, and I think you were at least one or two characters from Mass Effect,
Yeah.
and it's been many years since I've played them, so I'm a little rusty on the characters. But I was really impressed. I was like,
Thank
wow, that's
you.
so cool. um, Now, and I saw you even have made your own T-shirts and stuff like that
Yeah.
too. Do you ever make T-shirts for friends?
Yeah, I mean, I've done anything that you can think of that involves like changing something and making something else. I've done it. Like I went through
Okay.
this phase where I was making custom controllers for my friends, where I do like
Oh,
custom
cool.
paint jobs on them. I've
Wow.
made t-shirts for people.
Hmm.
I've yeah, I like making things, and I make too many things, and I feel like
Uh,
you reach like this point of saturation in your home where like I feel like if I hoard everything I make, I
hmm.
don't I stop making things. So I give them
Right.
away. I make them
Okay.
for people. I'm like,
Oh,
here,
that's
this is yours
awesome.
now. This is yours now. I just hoist my wares onto them. They have no
Yeah.
choice.
Well, I'm sure people appreciate that. That's cool. uh, Now, when it comes to like the appreciation of knowing what goes into putting together a good cosplay, like how much does that mean to you when you see people dressing up as Claudette or Serena or like Spirit and stuff like that?
It's pretty humbling sometimes, you know, to be on the other side and realize that there are people that are that inspired by what your whole company and your team has been making.
Mhm.
It's one of my favorite things. Like I love going around and seeing people's cosplays and searching the hashtags and stuff. And now that in-person events are starting up again, like I cannot wait to chase them down in hallways and take pictures of
Oh,
them
yeah. Oh,
and see the
yeah.
construction and stuff. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's kind of like this very humbling and beautiful creative circle where like we're creating this content and they're taking this content and they're making more beautiful things and then they're going out into the world with those beautiful things, which is inspiring other people
Oh,
to do
yeah.
that. So it's just it's really really cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
never thought about what that would feel like to be on that end, like your company, for example, like just seeing how much people love the characters and then taking that love and spending extra time to put together
Hmm.
these really amazing cosplays. And I've seen some really cool ones where I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that person's like actually Zarina walking around in her onesie. Like, how is that? That blows my mind. And I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, and the community team's really great about finding them and also retweeting and stuff on weekends and showcasing
Hmm.
it because the community does have a lot of talent.
Yeah.
I'm just still trying to figure out what I'm gonna make as my first Dead by Daylight cosplay because like
Oh.
I'm way overdue to make
Hmm.
something.
Oh, yeah. Is there any character you lean towards?
Honestly, I did like a closet cosplay of Michaela for Halloween.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I want to do something really unexpected, but I don't even know what that is. I mean, if I
Hmm.
were to say today, I would probably do the artist.
Okay.
I really
Yeah.
like her, and I was also like really attached to some of her activations when she was announced.
Hmm.
Because I was an artist, I was able to be like, well, let's make
Oh,
a
yeah.
fake gallery and let's do this.
Oh, yeah.
So we got to do some really cool stuff for her, and she's just creepy. Like she's creepy and beautiful, and I really like that intersection. Like Spirit lives
Hmm.
there too for me, where I'm like, I love the horror element, but there's also like
Yeah.
this eerie beauty, which I tend to really enjoy.
Yeah. I can appreciate that because there's like, I find beauty in the weirdest places. Like,
Mm.
there's, I I might out myself a little bit here, but I find there's something really beautiful about the end of have you seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yes.
Yeah, so you know when Bubba's thrashing around, he's got his chainsaw and he's upset because the
Hmm.
one girl got away, and I'm like, I cry every time I see that scene because she got away and he's upset and he's this cute chubby boy and he doesn't know any better. It's just all he knows. And for me, my heart goes out to him. I'm like, oh dude, I'm sorry she got like it's so strange. But yeah, I'm like a sopping mess over here every time at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh
And
my god! Next time I watch it, I'm gonna absolutely think of you.
yeah, yeah, it's great, but it's like such an electric scene because like you've got him like the truck driver gets out and he attacks everybody there, and it's so intense. And I think it's more or less just a release because that whole movie is it's so crazy. And but yeah, and I'm the same way. Like in Mad Max Fury Road, I don't know if you may have seen that
Yeah.
one. So there was a scene in particular where they show like it's like a dark setting and there's like people on stilts and they're dressed kind of like crows and birds and
Hmm.
stuff. And to me, that was the most beautiful part of the movie. And they look kind of like vultures. And I think vultures are beautiful too. And they actually
Yeah.
do really good work. Like vultures actually protect us from like disease and decay and all kinds of things. But yeah, I like finding beauty in places maybe other people wouldn't.
No, I fully agree. Like, especially as someone who's attracted to like the horror and the macabre, and like as you saw from my cosplay, I'm usually either doing some sort of alien
Yeah.
or something very like extremely stylized like Borderlands, or
Hmm.
I've done some crossplay where I do men. Like I have no problem with people doing traditionally beautiful
Hmm.
whatever, but that's just not something that ever really appealed to me.
Hmm.
I like kind of making it a little weird.
Yeah, I did see that one cosplay where I think it was a male character with like blonde hair and
Yeah, that was
yeah.
Cullen from Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I didn't play that game, so I'm not too familiar with the characters, but I was like, wow, May looks like really handsome there. It was really interesting. I thought that
Yeah.
was really cool. Like that kind of boggles my mind when people can, like you say, you take it to these
Mhm.
different kinds of limits, and
Well,
I
I
think that's cool.
suspected I might be attractive man
Yeah.
because my siblings are all men.
Okay.
And I was like, well, they look pretty good objectively. Like
Yeah.
maybe I can do it too. And
Yeah.
also in real life, I'm 5'9", so
Okay.
I'm not like super tall, but I'm tall
Hmm.
enough that some people were like, wait a second, like just like
Yeah.
I I got most people decently until I talked, and then it was just like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's right. I guessed your height on Twitter,
Mhm.
I think, a couple
Yes,
weeks ago.
exactly correct.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
was like, how?
I told you, I was like, you give off like tall girl vibes, but not freakishly tall, but taller than the average female. So
Taller than the average bear. Yeah.
yeah.
And the worst part is I always wear heels and platforms and stuff too. So
Hmm.
I am very much drunk on my own tallness, and
Okay.
I
That's
continue to
cool.
accentuate it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to put you on the spot with something kind of
Mhm.
fun on the topic of Twitter. We're talking Twitter here. And I think that anybody in the Dead by Daylight community won't be too shocked or surprised to I'm introducing a new segment. I don't know if you seen Hot Ones?
Oh, the
It's a
wing
YouTube
show.
show.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, where they do the whole social media. This is your
Yeah.
Instagram. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have that section called Explain That Gram. Well, this is a podcast platform, so I can't really like show people pictures on like Spotify.
Mhm.
But what I can do is I can ask you to explain that tweet, where I can read out a tweet of yours and give you an opportunity to elaborate on it. You may know the one I'm already talking about. Um, so I read this tweet and I clutched my pearls when I read it and I giggled. Um, this tweet you posted, I'm Canadian and I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but you can absolutely stuff this turkey. I think that sent shockwaves through the whole community that day.
Yeah, so I'm a little filthy, and like you said, Dead by Daylight community, not not going to be shocked about that. And BioWare as well. Like when I worked for
Yeah.
BioWare, I was like, there's no way I'm finding community thirstier than this, and then I found Dead by Daylight.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's me and my levity. And if I think of something funny, like I almost can't control myself. Like
Yeah.
I have to do it.
Hmm.
But also like I find Thanksgiving is like a rough time for me. Like holidays are
Oh
often
yeah.
a rough time. So I'll
Yeah.
tend to like do a lot of shit posting
Oh yeah.
about holiday stuff around then.
Yeah. Yeah, that cracked me up. And I read some of the responses and yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, that's a Dead by Daylight community person right there.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
stuffing up turkeys.
Yeah. That's right. And the funny thing is like I can relate to that in so many ways because I'll be like when I'm especially when I'm streaming Dead by Daylight, I'll be like getting kind of sussy. I'll be like, "Oh, Daddy David's shirtless. Daddy David's touching me," or I'm like, "Are you guys jealous?" I'm like, "He's rubbing my back and he's making me feel calm." And while this killer's trying to get us, and we're having a moment here, and of course that's very tame to some of the other stuff and like other things we see in the community. But I find that to be a fun aspect of the game because
Yeah.
let's face it, it's an adult game and adults are going to play it and
Mhm.
a lot of the models are very attractive. So
It's very true. And I mean, there's also like a whole like decades of horror and sexuality being intertwined,
oh yeah.
like even the birth of like romantic horror literature, it's in there,
Hmm.
like there's
Oh yeah.
always been this thing about like, vampires are sexy,
Oh yeah.
people who stab you are sexy,
Yeah. Yeah.
people tie you up are sexy. Like it's all kind of in there. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm never really shocked at what comes out of people's mouths. I just
Oh
can't
yeah.
always retweet it.
Oh yeah. I hear you. I hear you. So Spoiler, read
Yeah.
May's likes. Read May's like. Check her likes. The
Strom's
ones we can't.
quietly like,
That's where the good stuff is. um,
yeah.
on that topic, when are we? When are y'all gonna treat us to shirtless Felix? Because that's a hot
Oh,
topic in the community,
yes.
right?
You're not satisfied with Vittorio? That wasn't enough for you?
Vittorio, yeah, he does give off the daddy vibes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do appreciate that, but I do like the boy band type a little bit too. So
Yeah, I mean, if I knew that, I would have to take it to my grave.
yeah,
I don't even know though,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah, yeah. And I figured, yeah, I just wanted to put you on the spot for a second there
No,
because
it's true. You made me
yeah,
blush. I'm just like, "Ooh, shirtless people." But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, it's so beyond shirtless Felix when now. Like, it's
hmm
become its completely different thing. Like,
oh yeah,
Felix is like an personification of sexuality in Dead by Daylight.
oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he's evolved beyond just a person at this point. So
oh yeah,
I hope it happens for us one day. Like, I'll
yeah.
just leave it at that.
Oh yeah. Oh totally. And like on the topic we're talking daddies and stuff like that. How like how meaningful was it when we introduced David's gay, right? Like in the
Correct.
lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about how that came to be and like are you able to
Yes.
talk about like the origins of that from origin to like where we are now?
Well, Dead by Daylight's Twitter did have two really good statements on it. So if you ever want to hear, like, if you want to see it in the official source, you can check there. But basically, it's something that we really wanted to do for a long time. And it was very important to the team that we do it correctly.
Yeah.
So we've been working with consultants at GamerX,
Okay,
and
yeah.
they've been helping us go through the lore and find ways to celebrate LGBT characters in a way that isn't tokenizing or bury your gays or anything like that. So
Right.
it's taking a little bit, it's taking time because
Mhm.
we want to make sure that everyone feels safe and represented. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was a huge moment for us. Like,
Oh yeah.
and I cannot wait for the progression of that to happen.
Oh yeah, because I get the real sense that that's not where this ends, right? Like, I'm sure I can picture a future where we have a trans person in the group, whether that's in the future character chapter or current,
Well, there's
lore.
also some hidden representation. Sadako is canonically intersexed.
Oh,
So,
is that right?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
know that. Okay.
A lot
Oh
of people
wow.
are familiar with Ring and not Ringu itself, but yeah,
Right.
some of it's already kind of in there.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's
um,
amazing.
the true. Oh, am I going to get the skin wrong? Um, One of the Crypt TV skins, the tree one for the hag,
Oh,
that
right.
character is also canonically trans.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
so
I
there.
remember.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's little things, but it's there,
hmm Yeah.
and I cannot wait until there's more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get a feeling with people like you and the people on your team, like that's, y'all are always going to be there whispering at everybody's ear. We need, we need this representation
Yeah.
still. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's fun. Every single time they give us a preview about the new chapters, I'm always excited about things that are coming out, and yeah, I mean, it's never going to stop. We're just going to
Yeah.
keep getting a cooler and cooler group of characters for everyone to play.
That's amazing. That's really cool. I was curious about like in terms of like there's one thing that really bugs me when it comes to the community. I'm going to bitch about the community for a second
Okay.
here. That's what we do. That's all we do in Dead by Daylight. We complain about each other. Um, when it comes to like, let's say for example, Dead by Daylight releases the winter cosmetics, and people are like, "Hey, cool!" Like I remember they did the community vote, which I thought was cool. The community voted for the wrong one, but it's another conversation. But like, I'll see some people posting on Twitter or TikTok or wherever, and they'll say, oh, well, if they weren't so focused on cosmetics, they could fix the issues with the game. But like, I don't see those completely relating. Like, am I way off with that? Or
I
how do
can
you respond when
say,
you say that? See
I
that?
mean, I don't respond because
Yeah.
often when you have people that are in that frame of mind, there's very little reasoning with them.
Yeah.
So I just tend to uh, not throw gasoline on the fire, because when you have
Yeah.
someone again who's in that mind frame, almost anything you say is going to get twisted.
That's true.
So basically the people who are posting on Twitter and making the cosmetics and fixing the game, like these are all very different people, and
Hmm.
we're a massive well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
The thing that I can say is it's not an either or situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that people don't understand, which is
Hmm.
why I just like, I mean, obviously we're human beings, sometimes we see that and it hurts, and
Yeah.
also as the player experience team, they're all fantastic. Like we will take note when we see things repeatedly so we can consolidate that information and use it going forward. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's just I like to think that they're not being deliberately malicious. They're just
Yeah.
passionate,
Yeah.
and I like to think that it's just coming from a place of like they don't know, they don't realize, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I
not
see
an
where,
either or situation.
yeah. And that's what I've always thought, because like I'm an IT person, and a previous guest I had on the podcast, they're also in IT.
Mhm.
And, the thing is with anything IT related, you've got project managers, you've got all these teams that are working towards one goal, and you don't have like one person or one group of people making all the decisions and deciding what ends up in the final product. Like quite often there's like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of fingers in there, a lot of
Mhm.
project managers making decisions. And the amount of times I've had a developer in a meeting say, I could fix this thing on the website if you guys would just let me, but the project manager won't let me, so I can't. So my hands are tied and they're not letting me take the time to fix these things. So that's one thing that always is always in the back of my mind. I'm just like, oh my gosh, these people just don't understand how like IT works and how projects work, and there's so many moving parts. And
That's it, and the team is so big and the team is so competent, and basically like when people are negative, I'm like, I wish I could show you how hard everyone works and how
hmm,
much people to collaborate to try and bring you the best experience and best game possible.
yeah,
And we'll never, I mean, there's always going to be something, but
yeah,
you just try not to let it get to you, and
hmm,
take note of the things that are valid critiques, because obviously there
hmm,
are people in the community that do have valid critiques.
yeah,
I'm not trying
yeah,
to say they're all, you
yeah,
know,
hmm,
uh, but yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I think that's fair. And yeah, that's the thing. Like you mentioned earlier, they're y'all are real people, with feelings, and like obviously some way or another you're going to be seeing these tweets. Like you're going to see some positive happy thoughts, and but it's the ones that yell the loudest sometimes that get to us the most, and that's a really unfortunate aspect of whether it's content creation or video game development. Like it's really hard to ignore those
I mean, it can
loud
be,
yeah.
but honestly, like I would say the good far outweighs the bad. And
Hmm.
I mean, sometimes when things feel really personal and really rough, I just have to remind myself to give myself a little space and a little perspective,
Yeah.
because it's often not even about us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can really tell when it's a reflection of the person who's
Mhm.
upset about something. You're like, okay, there's something else going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. Um, Now, I wanted to get back to you. You talked a little bit about how in your role, you you help select the fog whisperers and give out the Twitch shirts and such. Um, there are going to be a lot of people listening to this podcast who are
Yeah, you
content
should
creators.
probably edit that out.
Oh, you think?
No,
Oh,
just
should I?
kidding.
Okay, I was like,
No, but it
here's
is it is the team. It is the team.
so
Everyone pays attention and watches the hashtags very
yeah.
very c'est quoi le mot en anglais? We pay
Mhm.
attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so, like, what are some ways, outside of, like, maybe using the hashtags that people can
That's
get the team's attention?
honestly, that's pretty much it.
Yeah?
Hashtag and tagging, we have tools to listen and things like that.
Mhm.
But honestly, like if you just kind of use it on social media, you use it in your Twitch things, your going live tweets, things like that.
Yeah.
We do random searches of the directory. Like we do
Cool.
try and just like go around and find as many different people as possible
Mhm.
to consider and such. But
Mhm.
yeah, like it's there's so much out there, and we
Yeah.
always I always feel like the team is just scratching the surface, and we're
Oh, yeah.
always looking for more and more people to
That's
bring
cool.
in.
Yeah, and I saw a video of a girl who talked about how much the game means to her,
Just some
and
punkster, yes, yes,
yeah,
that was making the rounds recently. Yeah,
yeah, I got, like, emotional watching that because
me
it's like,
too.
that's so beautiful, and, I think that, like, in terms of the community, I'm pretty plugged into the community. This won't be news to you. I think there's, like, a group of people who are feeling burnt out and feeling like it's okay to just insult the game and insult the community and be rude and nasty. But there are some of us who are like, I may have some issues with the game. I have a lot of issues with the people in the community. At the end of the day, I love this game, and that's
Mhm.
why I dedicate my content to it, and why we're sitting here having this conversation.
Yeah.
And I do like to see those kinds of moments because, um, you know, it's more than a game, right? Like, it
Mhm.
ties so many of us together. I've formed some really amazing friendships through this game and through this community, and I'm always like consciously just like, okay, I gotta try to like avoid the negative, weird energy people and just focus on the good of what's happening through this game and community. So
Yeah, because there's a lot of really beautiful, incredible people in the community, like it's I'm always in awe of all of the content creators and all the people out there who are just making these really positive, beautiful, safe spaces for people.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's more good than bad.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. Now I'm curious, like in terms of playing the game, like I don't want to put you on the spot and be like, how many hours do you play every week? But like, do you
uh
make time and
I
do you
do
do?
make time. It's
Yeah.
actually, to me, a very important part of game development and being on the team. I
Hmm.
do all of the play tests. I don't tend to play recreationally a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
But I do invest a certain amount of time every week to mess
Hmm.
around with all the new stuff. I'm always down to survive with friends, but I am
Hmm.
a terrible killer. Now that we have bots in the
Uh,
game, I've been telling
yeah.
myself I'm going to start like training over winter break because at
Yeah.
this point, like, I need some sort of dummy account or something because like
Ah.
I'm almost embarrassed to represent the company with how badly I play.
Yeah.
Um, there was a Twitch Montreal thing last Christmas, and they invited me to play Dead by Daylight with some content creators, and I was just like, "You have no idea what
Oh,
you're asking of me." Like,
yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
I did it though because I
Yeah.
think it's good content.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at this behavior noob. They bad at their own game. Like, what's going on? Like, I never thought about that because, like, there must be like some kind of invisible bar that the community sets for anybody who works at behavior to be
Yeah.
like at a certain skill level for the game. But it's not an easy game to play.
No, and that's the thing. Like, you would think that with a certain amount of hours, you would just eventually get good, but that is not
Hmm.
the case for me. Like,
Oh yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
um, it's Dead by Daylight was actually one of the first multiplayer games that I got into. Aside
Okay.
from Borderlands, which was pretty much the only other multiplayer that I would play online, and that's so much
Hmm.
not so much multiplayer as is cooperative.
Hmm.
And I tend to be like one of those players that just kind of run around doing support for everyone. So like,
Yeah.
I'll heal, I'll be on gens, I'll do some chases, but I'm not particularly gifted or talented at any of them.
Yeah.
And the thing the thing that I wish people knew is that while we're testing all these things, I don't always remember what's in the live game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
So
fair.
there is a little bit of like disassociation, right? Where I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, sometimes I'll misremember things.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes something that was discussed as a feature isn't a feature.
Right.
I don't think I'm surprising anyone from this information because, like, even the PTB to release, there are changes.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah.
sometimes my brain is just absolutely scrambled.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, when you consider like how many add-ons there are for every killer, all the different perks,
Mhm.
the different status messages and stuff, that's actually what put me off the game when I first started playing.
Mhm.
Like I played for about 2, 3 weeks and I uninstalled and my friend was like, "Oh, this killer has barbecue and chili," and I'm like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Oh, they see your aura," and I'm like, "What's an aura?" And he's like, and
Well,
I was like, he's telling me I have will make it. You can see by the little icon there. I'm like, what icon? And I was so confused. And
there is a very difficult learning curve to Dead by Daylight in the
hmm.
beginning. Like, I find, well, at least for me, like, I can't speak for everyone, obviously, because there are some people that just kind of have this higher level strategy in them. But for me, like, the thing that I found really interesting about Dead by Daylight is at the point of entry, um, it's easy for it to be fun immediately, but
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
difficult to get good
Yeah.
in my
Yeah. Oh
experience.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I warn people that when I play, like, I'm really casual, but I have a lot of fun, and that's how I enjoy the social aspect of the game more than the
Hmm.
competitive one, which is also
Yeah.
a valid play style.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love watching people go hard, but sometimes I'm like, I do not want to be that sweaty.
Yeah. I hear you because I have a friend who befriends the killer almost every single round, but I'm just like, get on a gen right now, fix it. Stop messing with the Myers, you freak. So I'm like sweaty tournament mode sometimes.
I mean, they're all valid play styles, right?
Yeah,
You just gotta hope that, like, if you're playing with friends, you're on the same vibe.
yeah. But there are really cool moments. Like I ran into I'm getting used to saying Fungmin. That's how you pronounce her name, Fungmin. I ran into two Fungs who both had flashlights. I was the killer. I was Wraith, and they were just both being really cute. Like they were like blocking me. They were clicking their flashlights at me, and just being really playful. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm going to adjust my play style to what they're doing. But the other people in the game didn't quite pick up on that. They were trying to play super hard, and so I eliminated them. And I was like running around with the Fung Mins, and we were just goofing around and I captured some of the highlights, and I still want to find those people because they're on console, so I couldn't message them. And I was like, "Darn it, that was a cute round."
That's so fun. I remember the day that we released the Pride Charm. I went in and I played a bunch because there was a ton of us that were just running around with the Pride Charm pointing at each other.
Oh yeah,
There were some very wholesome moments, or
oh that's
like
cool.
you'd go and you see the Pride Charm on the killer thing, and you're like, well, I guess I'll let him hook me,
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that's actually one of the things that makes DVD really special. Like, I feel honestly that streamers keep making this game better and better with their content, but also, like, the passion feeds into our passion and just becomes this,
yeah,
like, very beautiful thing. But DVD is one of those games where, like, it's so streamable and it's so enjoyable to watch because you
yeah,
never really know what's going to happen.
yeah,
And sometimes there's these, like, incredibly cute and beautiful moments and you're just like, what? Or sometimes there's, like, really tight gameplay, and sometimes it's just like you're having a bad day and you go and you
hmm,
distract yourself.
yeah.
That's the thing that I find really incredible about Dead by
That's
Daylight as a
cool.
game.
Yep. I'm curious, like while you're talking about that, is there anything that really stands out to you that really shocked you or the team with the way somebody played or like a mechanic in the game that you maybe didn't see happening, but you're like, oh, that's actually pretty cool.
No, I mean, I feel like the community is so inventive. They're
Hmm.
constantly finding ways to bamboozle me.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, oh yeah, those two perks together would be absolutely devastating.
yeah,
Um, but I feel like sometimes it's the community reactions to things that we've been putting out, like I mentioned the pride charms, but we also recently made a charm for puppers, one of our fog whisperers,
Right. Yeah.
and seeing everyone run around with the puppers charm and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like though those are the moments for me.
Yeah.
And of course, like Into the Fogs and Into the Rainbows, sometimes
Hmm.
seeing the ridiculous talent
Oh yeah. Yeah.
it is pretty impressive. But yeah, for me, it's a lot of the unexpected social interactions. Like that's the part that
Hmm.
I find really interesting about Dead by Daylight.
That's cool. Yeah, what really gets me is when you see when I'm watching those events, it it kind of boggles my mind how some of the streamers are just so in tune with what's entertaining. Like
Mhm.
it's that's a skill you can't really teach. So when something happens in the game and the way they can just kind of have fun with that and just see things so much differently from the rest of us and just have these really funny moments. That's a part of what really keeps me coming back to this game is just seeing the way people can be creative and the way they can be silly and goofy and have fun. And I do enjoy the high skill stuff too, of
Mhm.
course. I can definitely enjoy and appreciate that because I'm like, man, I wish I was that good. But sometimes it's just not the case, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, sometimes I watch people and I'm like, man, I really wish I could be that good. But we all have our own special talents.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. So is there anybody on the team that you like to Swift with? Do y'all have little groups?
Well,
Any
we do. We have our play test groups, and I tend to
Yeah.
play with people on the player experience team because that's I'm immediately on the influencer management team, but we're part of
Mhm.
the player experience team,
Okay. Yeah.
which is a bunch of really awesome people. But yeah, I would say like I tend to just stick with them.
Mhm.
When I streamed more regularly, well, I'm still part of a stream team, and the stream team is
Mhm.
Rainbow Arcade.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful LGBTQIA2S plus team, and they are the people who actually introduced me to Dead by Daylight.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, they were just like, "Hey, play with us," and I was like, "What is this game?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like a year later, I was working for Behavior, so it
Oh,
was
that's
kind of
so
kismet.
cool. Yeah.
But yeah, like I tend to play with people on Rainbow Arcade or
Mhm.
my immediate team at work. But like I said, I'm down to clown. Like I
Mhm.
did the thing for Twitch Montreal. I've done
Yeah.
other things before, but I would say that I'm someone who needs to be invited. Like
Okay. Yeah.
I find that I tend to be like just kind of doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and then if I see someone on Steam playing it, I'll be like, maybe. But as soon as they message me, I'm like, yes, we're going.
Oh, cool. That's all. I'm the same way. Like I don't know what it is. Like I I think I know what it is. I think that gamers, content creators, as much as we're social while we're streaming, we're being social. We're literally, I'm literally the only person here, right? Like it
Mhm,
physically, it's just me here. So I can just say whatever I want, do silly things, say silly things.
mhm.
But at the end of the day, I think a lot of us are like kind of introverted and like really shy about like, hey, do you want to play video games with me? Like it's tough, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's definitely a dichotomy because like when it comes to conventions and events and doing my job, I'm very extroverted and I love meeting people and stuff like that. But then
Hmm.
sometimes I'll get in my head and I'll be like, well, this person doesn't want to play with me.
Oh
I'm
no.
bothering them.
Oh
but
no. Yeah.
but that's being a gamer. That's life.
Yeah.
That's life as
Oh
a
yeah.
gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'll see a few friends playing together. I'm like, why didn't they invite me? And I'm like, I'm busy, but I would have liked the gesture.
Have
It's
you
so
ever done the
weird.
thing where you like log off and log on again so you pop up
Oh
as
yeah. Oh yeah. If you want to take it to the next level, you go
noticing
to
me?
their stream and you notice them because some people have like the screen capture. So say the
Yeah.
Crow Show is now online and the Crow Show is now playing Dead by Daylight. That's a good. I should do that more. I should and see how they react and say, "Hey, Crow's on. We should get him in here."
Yeah.
Or will they ignore me and then I'll just feel even worse? That's funny though. That's definitely, I think, something that a lot of us do.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think you're not really a streamer unless you get into your head about those things. It's like the same way you don't really have a community unless like your moderators bully you. Like it's just
Hmm.
it's part of the streamer
It's yeah.
dynamics.
Oh yeah. That's 100% about it. Like I wanted to talk about your streaming days
Mhm.
because like I looked into your past and I saw you played Dragon Age and
Mhm.
I think Dead by Daylight and I think I saw Mass Effect and I think I saw some artwork streams. Did I see
Yes,
that as well?
I predominantly do creative streams now because it's
Hmm.
just like it's games are a little bit more work focused and art
Yeah.
is a little bit more relaxation focused. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean I've done a lot of playthroughs. What as you can tell, it was mostly like really long RPGs. Like I did The
Yeah.
Witcher, I did all of the Dragon Age games, I did all the Mass
Oh,
Effect
cool.
games, and all that stuff. So now, what I've been doing when I do stream, which unfortunately I haven't done for a while,
Yeah.
is I either do my art or cosplay streams, or I
Hmm.
do episodic or short form indie games. Like I
Okay.
really, really love indie games. They're one of my
Cool.
passions,
Yeah.
especially ones that are like kind of creepy. Like you have like Oxenfree or What Remains of Edith Finch, and like these kind of
Right.
like atmospheric, really fun games to be chatty with.
Hmm.
Um, I prefer to stream those as my own content.
Okay.
Because it's just it's different enough that it gives me something
Yeah.
different, satisfying, you know?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think it's really important to have that when you're a streamer. Like, as much as I love streaming Dead by Daylight as my main game, recently I took a time out to stream The Quarry, and for me
Oh
that was
yeah.
like so freeing to just play something else and like have different kind of content on my channel, and people appreciated seeing me freaking out over choices I made and like the way I responded to certain moments. And of course games like The Quarry have like a very dedicated audience, so a lot of people were tuning in just to see
Mhm.
like the choices I was making and things that I was doing. So and I find Life is Strange is a lot like that
It's
too.
funny,
Like,
I was just about to bring up Life is Strange. Like, I remember at one point when I was streaming the first book, the first game, I
mhm.
think I grabbed like an extra like 25 viewers that just like were just
Oh yeah.
obsessed with
Yeah.
finding out what my playthrough was.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of games like that. Like, I really love the Telltale games.
Mhm.
I just there's something about narrative driven games that has always been like a passion of mine. So while
Mhm.
Dead by Daylight is super interesting because it's like these interactive moments that you can't replicate,
Mhm.
narrative games are kind of like the soothing, allow me to take you on a journey kind of thing.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's just like it's the two vibes. Like I
Yeah.
want screaming murder, death, and mayhem, or I want
Mhm.
like to be reduced to tears by a
Oh yeah.
story.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm 100% the same way because like yeah, Life is Strange. I'll be halfway through the first chapter and I'm always like, you guys didn't see me crying, like.
So what did you choose? Was
Oh,
it
for the
Bay
first
or
one,
Bay? Yeah.
it some people may not be happy with this. I chose the people
Me too.
over. Okay, good. Okay, yeah. I
Everyone
was
was
like,
so mad at me.
that's so funny. Yeah, that's the thing. Like in my head, I was like, I could save generations of people, and I'd love to save this one person, this one love of my life. But like, I couldn't live with myself if I
No.
eliminated an entire community. I was like, I can't do it.
That's it. It's funny because my chat was right along with me for most of it, and I even
Yeah.
managed to I can't remember her name, but I even managed to save the girl on the roof, which apparently stunned people.
Oh yeah. No, I
Um,
didn't save her.
yeah,
Sadly.
well,
And
I I have a really good memory. It's one of my
yeah.
blessings and a curse, and I just
Oh,
picked all the
cool.
right things because I
Yeah.
remember seeing the portrait with her family and her sister, and apparently that's
Oh.
one of the trigger things.
Oh
But
no
yeah,
way.
so when I was like, no, I'm saving everyone, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, but Chloe, and I was like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, there are other beautiful tattooed ladies for me to fall in love with.
That's right.
But also,
Exactly.
I've always been like, I mean, I grew up on Star Trek, right? Like, I'm very
Yeah.
Vulcan. I'm like the needs of the
Uh
many, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly. But in many ways you feel more deeply than these other than humans, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The part that got me the most while we're in the topic of Life is Strange is when was it Chloe was in the hospital,
Mhm.
and oh my gosh, that wrecked me. Like,
Yeah.
I think I have that highlighted somewhere on my Twitch or YouTube or somewhere, but I was just a mess, and I was like, but at the same time, I was like really impressed because I was like, I'm playing a video game and I'm like a part of what's happening right now.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate that aspect.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Don't Nod is great. Did you play Tell Me Why?
I haven't yet. No.
I think you'd
Yeah,
really like it.
recommend it. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, I'll have to add it to my massive pile of movies or games that
Well,
are
they
like
basically are
movies.
movies,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Interactive movies.
Oh, totally. That's one thing I was curious about is like in terms of because Dead by Daylight, let's face it, is the basically the leader in the asymmetrical horror genre. How do y'all pave the way? And are you able to draw inspiration from other games or other things like movies or TV shows and stuff like that?
I mean, I think intrinsically movies, because a lot of our licenses are horror movie based. And I think that any good game developer and game designer is constantly being inspired by the work of their peers. Like
Hmm.
we love to cheer each other on,
Yeah.
and sometimes a good thing in another game won't work for your game, but
Yeah.
sometimes there's really interesting things to be learned. So I would say, yeah, like if
Hmm.
you're a creative, in my opinion, you should always be learning and taking in what's around you, because there's
Oh
always
yeah.
opportunity for growth.
Oh, absolutely. One of the most profound things I read in an article, and it stuck with me my entire life. Um, I used to be in the online film criticism world, and there
Mhm.
was this writer that I looked up to very much, and um, it was just this article of like 30 different film writers, critics talking about. I think the question was, what do you suggest to up and coming writers, people who aspire to be film writers, film journalists, stuff like that? And everybody's like, you want to work on your technique and like make sure it flows well and stuff. But like one answer was, you have to live life. You have to fall in love, get hurt, communicate with your best friends, talk to your parents, talk to your siblings. You've got to work shitty jobs. You've got to get yelled at by your boss. You've got to stand up for yourself. You've got to maybe struggle a little bit as you move out and be on your own and start paying rent and uh, get into the dating scene and like all this stuff. I was like, that makes so much sense because like the more life you live, I think the more you can bring to any experience, whether it's in your career or the art that you create, stuff like that. So it's like, that's really cool. I love that. I'm going to hold on to that and share with anybody who's willing to listen. But yeah, I don't want to keep you for too much longer. And I think
Yeah.
I do have to get going pretty soon anyway.
Same,
Uh,
same. There's
but
always things to do in my
yeah,
world.
oh, exact. I'll bet. I do like to give everybody a chance to plug anything that you're working on. Is there any socials or anything you want to mention at this point?
Well, I'm the mermaid everywhere. So that's THE_MERMAE. Like Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. So you can find me there on all of the platforms.
Hmm.
Um, I am looking to start streaming again over the Christmas break. So if
Cool.
people want to come and check that out, that's really cool. You can come see me for slightly adult tweets on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right.
You can see thousands of pictures of my dog on Instagram. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so and if you haven't checked out Dead by Daylight, I don't know why you're listening to this, but maybe you want to consider checking out Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd like I mean, that's my self promotion, but I
Yeah.
just want to say for the record, like, this team at Behavior is hands down one of the greatest teams I've ever worked with. And it's
Hmm.
it's the best job I've ever had.
Right
And
on.
if you could spare like a little bit of positivity or, boosting cool things. You
Yeah.
don't know what it means to us. Like, it means the world to us.
Yeah.
So just keep creating the content you're creating, and inspiring people, because it inspires us to do more too.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you very much for your time. And thanks to everybody at Behavior for putting out this game and tying all of our communities together and keeping us together. And, you know, again, I can't stress how much this game means to me and how it helped me feel more connected to my bisexual side and just feeling love and acceptance from uh, the people who are in my community. So
That's
it means the world
amazing.
to me. So,
Well, it means the world to me too. So,
all right.
well, oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. To anybody who's listening, thank you very much for your ears. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and remember to like and subscribe, and tell all your friends. Send a link to your grandma and your parents and your cousins and your aunties and stuff. So, thank you very much, and I hope you have a nice day.